Welcome, fellow knowledge seekers. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive. We're looking into a topic that might challenge some common assumptions. The profound and really essential role of intellect within Islam. Many people perceive religious traditions as maybe static, resistant to change, or sometimes even at odds with rigorous inquiry. But our deep dive today, well, it's going to reveal how within Islam, and particularly the Ismaili tradition, intellectual rigor and adaptation are not just tolerated, they're actually integral to faith.
That's exactly right. For many, religion often gets viewed, solely through the lens of pure belief or maybe unthinking tradition. But the sources we're looking at today, they reveal this vibrant, really dynamic relationship where intellect isn't just permitted, it's absolutely central to practicing the faith. And this has been the case for centuries, and it's especially clear within the Ismaili tradition. It has such a rich intellectual heritage that honestly continues to flourish even in the contemporary world.
Yeah, you've sent over some incredibly rich sources. Our mission today is basically to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge from them. We want to help you understand what this emphasis on intellect truly means. We'll unpack how intellect is defined in this context, why it's considered so vital, and, how it shapes the entire journey of faith for a believer. Can faith truly be rational? Our deep dive today will challenge that very assumption, revealing intellect not as a threat, but maybe as the very bedrock of belief. Okay, let's begin by trying to understand what we even mean by intellect in this context. When we use the word, you might initially think of, I don't know, simple logic, academic intelligence, maybe problem-solving skills. But what our sources highlight is a much grander, more profound concept within the Islamic worldview. It's not just about being smart. It's something far more foundational to what it means to be human and to practice faith in this tradition.
Precisely. It's described as a fundamental capacity given directly by God, a divine gift, essentially. And through this capacity, human beings are enabled to truly know God, to discern moral truth, to understand the deeper meaning of divine revelation. Those divinely inspired messages and guidance communicated by God, primarily through prophets and culminating in the Holy Book. Intellect empowers individuals to live a life of conscious obedience to the Creator.
Conscious obedience.
Yeah, it's about understanding the why and the how behind one's beliefs and actions. Moving beyond just rote practice to a really profound internalized understanding. This isn't just about intellectual pursuit in a secular way. It's deeply integrated into the spiritual journey itself. The intellect, in this view, is the primary lens through which one perceives and interacts with the divine. That makes it the mechanism that allows for a rich, engaged relationship with one's faith.
That really does shift my understanding of the concept. It implies that faith isn't about shutting off your mind at all. It makes me wonder then how this translates into the practical day-to-day life of a believer. You mentioned divine revelation. Do the sacred texts themselves actually demand this kind of intellectual engagement rather than just passive acceptance?
They absolutely do, and this takes us to a really fascinating dimension because the texts explicitly state that unlike some traditions that might emphasize, say, blind faith or unquestioning obedience, Islam repeatedly calls its followers to reflect, to ponder, to reason, and to understand. This isn't just presented as an option or suggestion. It's a core expectation, also like a divine command to engage your mind. You're not just told to believe, you're told to think deeply about why you believe.
So it's a recurring theme then, not just some isolated idea mentioned once or twice.
Oh, indeed. The Holy Book itself addresses specific groups, not just a general audience. It speaks to people of inner understanding, those who contemplate, and those who use their intellect. These aren't just descriptive labels, they feel prescriptive, encouraging believers to strive to become these very types of individuals. Those who don't just see but comprehend, who don't just hear but truly listen and absorb. It signals that intellectual diligence is a mark of spiritual maturity, a pathway to deeper insights that are otherwise, well, inaccessible. This consistent emphasis across the sacred texts establishes intellect not as some kind of add-on, but as an indispensable component of one's faith journey. It actively discourages thoughtless adherence to tradition, and instead fosters a dynamic, conscious engagement with one's beliefs and the world.
And there's a powerful saying attributed to the prophet, which, wow, it truly elevates the concept of intellect to an astonishing degree. It describes intellect as the first thing God created, the very first, and then declares it the noblest of all creations. That's huge. This isn't just a casual statement. It places intellect right at the genesis of existence, giving it this primordial and supreme status. Imagine, among everything in creation, this faculty is given such an unparalleled position.
Right. The saying goes something like, the first thing that God created was the intellect, and he said to it, Come forward. It came forward. He said, go back. It went back. Then he said, by my might and glory, I have not created a creation more noble than you. So, like you said, this isn't just a philosophical idea. It gives intellect cosmic and moral importance, sets it apart as uniquely esteemed in the divine order.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, I mean, if it's considered the noblest creation, what does that imply about its cultivation and use in our lives?
Yeah, what does it mean for us? It suggests that cherishing and developing our intellect isn't just, a personal endeavor like improving yourself. It becomes a profound religious imperative, a way of honoring this divine gift.
So pursuing knowledge and using our minds is in itself an act of worship. That's a powerful connection.
Precisely. It positions intellectual growth as an act of worship itself, something integral to one's spiritual development. This view elevates the human mind to a place of profound significance in the divine order. It emphasizes that our capacity for thought and understanding is directly linked to our purpose and our connection with the Creator. It means that every time we engage our minds in meaningful inquiry, every time we seek to understand something new, we are fulfilling a fundamental aspect of our creation and potentially drawing closer to the divine. This isn't about intellectual arrogance, obviously, but about humility. Humility in recognizing intellect as a profound trust, a tool given to us to perceive the signs of the Creator in the universe and, well, in ourselves too.
Okay, given that profound status of intellect, the noblest creation, how do Islamic scholars then precisely define this crucial faculty? What does it truly encompass beyond, say, simple logic or problem solving? You mentioned starting with the original language sometimes helps unlock things.
Yeah, absolutely. The root of the word for intellect in the original language actually means to bind or to restrain.
To bind. Oh,
Yeah, which immediately gives us a crucial clue. Intellect isn't just about thinking, it's about its capacity to, well, bind or restrain base desires, impulsive behavior, narrow prejudices. It's not just about what you know, but how that knowledge enables you to act with discipline and wisdom. So conceptually, it encompasses discursive reason, our ability to think logically, analyze situations,
Right.
moral conscience, that innate sense of right and wrong we have, and spiritual discernment, the capacity to perceive deeper spiritual truths. It's presented as a holistic faculty, you see, integrating analytical thought with ethical judgment and spiritual insight. This means intellect isn't just cold logic. It's a faculty that inherently guides us towards what is right and away from what is harmful. Harmful both for ourselves and for society. It's a guiding force for both thought and action, ensuring our reasoning leads to beneficial and morally sound outcomes in all aspects of life.
That's a much broader and more integrated definition than I initially imagined. It's not just the thinking part of the brain. And you mentioned scholars didn't just have one idea, they broke it down further into different types or levels. This suggests a very nuanced understanding of how intellect operates in different spheres of human experience. Can you walk us through those categories? Why are they important?
Yes, exactly. Classical Islamic scholars identified various dimensions or categories of intellect, recognizing its multifaceted nature. They saw it not as this monolithic thing, but as a complex faculty working on different planes. So first there's the practical intellect. This is the one that governs our ethical behavior and our daily decisions. It's the wisdom you apply when you decide, say, to speak truthfully, even when it's difficult, or when you allocate your time and resources to help the community. It's about applying knowledge to live a virtuous life and interact ethically and justly with the world around you, embodying principles like compassion, fairness, responsibility.
Got it. The everyday ethical guide.
Exactly. Then we have the theoretical intellect. This deals more with abstract truths and deeper philosophical or metaphysical questions. This is the intellect that ponders, the nature of existence, the meaning of the universe, or the attributes of God. And this isn't just pondering in some ivory tower. It's the intellect that fuels scientists seeking the laws of the universe.
Ah, okay.
Or theologians trying to comprehend the nature of God's attributes. They see their work as a profound spiritual quest to understand the unseen, the fundamental principles governing reality.
Interesting. What else?
Thirdly, there's the acquired intellect. This is the one that grows and develops through our experiences, our learning, our continuous seeking of knowledge. It's the accumulation of wisdom and understanding over a lifetime, as we learn from our mistakes, our studies, our interactions with the world. This type of intellect isn't static, it's dynamic, constantly evolving. It represents the cumulative wisdom gained through active engagement with knowledge, education, and just life itself.
So it's the one we build over time.
Precisely. And finally, there's the sacred intellect. Now, this is a distinct and profound level. It's described as being directly illumined by divine light. And it's specifically attributed to figures like prophets and certain spiritual leaders. This isn't something one acquires through conventional study. It's a special, divinely inspired insight that allows for profound spiritual leadership and guidance.
Like a direct line.
Sort of. It's a unique capacity to perceive and convey ultimate truths, providing clarity and direction that transcends ordinary human understanding. It serves as a beacon for humanity.
That's incredibly comprehensive. It really paints a picture of intellect not just as a mental skill, but this holistic faculty guiding actions, deep thoughts, growth, even spiritual leadership. And this brings us to a really fascinating dimension, especially when we look, as our sources highlight, at the Ismaili tradition. This tradition seems to take the concept of intellect to a cosmic level, connecting it to something much larger than just individual human thought.
Yes, that's a crucial aspect. In Ismaili philosophy, particularly through the works of, prominent thinkers like Nasir and Al-Kirmani, the intellect is understood both as this vast cosmic reality, often referred to as the universal intellect.
Universal intellect.
And simultaneously as a divine spark present within every single human soul. This connection between the universal and the individual is absolutely crucial. It suggests that our individual intellect is, in a way, a reflection of this grand cosmic principle. And it's constantly striving to connect back to its origin. This isn't just some philosophical abstraction. It has profound implications for how knowledge is pursued and how faith is practiced within the community.
How so?
Well, this deep philosophical understanding has really underpinned the Ismaili community's emphasis on continuous learning and engagement with the world throughout its 1,400-year history. The belief that each individual carries a spark of the universal intellect means that everyone, in theory, has the inherent capacity to seek knowledge, to understand, and to grow spiritually.
Right, it democratizes it in a way.
Exactly. This foundational principle has fostered a tradition where education, intellectual discourse, critical thinking, they aren't just encouraged, they're seen as integral to religious identity and practice. The spiritual leaders of the Ismaili tradition, the Imams, have consistently emphasized this. They've guided their followers to apply their intellect, to tackle life's challenges, to adapt to changing times, and to foster an informed, vibrant community that's deeply rooted in both faith and reason. This historical continuity really demonstrates how deeply embedded the role of intellect is within the very fabric of the Ismaili way of life. It's enabled its resilience and progress across diverse cultures and eras. It has allowed the community to thrive and remain relevant in the contemporary world, constantly evolving its understanding of faith in light of new knowledge and global challenges, all while holding true to its core spiritual principles.
Okay, so this isn't just a philosophical idea debated among scholars, then. The Holy Book itself directly challenges humanity to use its intellect. It seems to actively prompt readers to engage their minds rather than just, passively absorb information. Can you recall any verses or passages that particularly strike you as direct challenges, urging the reader to really think rather than just accept?
Oh, absolutely. The Holy Book is, it's replete with such invitations to engage the mind. There are verses like, "Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alternation of night and day are signs for those of understanding." See, that's not just describing a beautiful scene. It's inviting you to look deeper, to see the intricate patterns, the profound wisdom, the underlying order in the natural world. It prompts you to ask why and how. Or there are even direct questions that serve as these powerful calls to action. Will they not use their intellect?
Wow, direct.
Yeah. And we have certainly made the Holy Book easy to remember and understand, so is there any who will reflect? These aren't rhetorical questions, They are challenges to the listener, urging them to awaken their cognitive faculties and apply them to the profound truths being presented. The phrasing sort of implies that to not use one's intellect is to miss out on a fundamental aspect of faith and understanding, to remain in a state of maybe intellectual slumber.
Those are truly powerful invitations to engage the mind. They don't just state a truth. They compel you to discover it for yourself, to actively participate in the process of understanding.
They are. And what's truly fascinating here is that these verses elevate reasoning from a mere intellectual exercise to a profound form of worship. Recognizing divine signs, whether in the vastness of the cosmos, from the smallest atom to largest galaxy, or within our own inner lives, the complexity of our consciousness, the intricacies of our emotions, all of this requires active reflection and deep engagement. It's not about passively accepting, it's about actively perceiving, understanding, and responding.
So the act of understanding is worship.
In a sense, yes. It makes the pursuit of knowledge in intellectual inquiry a spiritual act in itself. It connects the physical act of observing and learning about the world to the spiritual act of knowing God. Every act of thoughtful contemplation, every moment of seeking understanding, every scientific discovery potentially becomes an act of devotion. It reinforces the idea that the intellect is a primary tool for connecting with the divine. It transforms mere observation into a profound spiritual experience, emphasizing that a truly conscious faith is one that is continually engaged with the world and its signs, seeking to uncover deeper layers of truth.
This often feels like a tension point for many people, doesn't it? Faith versus reason. We often hear them presented as opposing forces, as if you have to choose one over the other. But our sources strongly suggest they're not at odds, but rather deeply connected, almost like two sides of the same coin. How does Islamic theology specifically reconcile this common perception of tension?
That's a critically important distinction, and it's where, frankly, much of the richness of Islamic thought lies. Islamic theology affirms that faith and reason are interdependent. They are meant to work together harmoniously. They aren't competing principles, but complementary forces that lead to a more complete understanding of truth. Different schools of thought grappled with this, sure, but they always came back to this fundamental unity. For example, some early thinkers, known for their emphasis on reason, argued very strongly that humans are morally responsible, precisely because they possess intellect, enabling them to distinguish good from evil even before receiving specific divine revelation. This meant reason wasn't just a tool for understanding faith, but a prerequisite for moral agency and accountability.
So intellect comes first in determining right and wrong, in that view.
Well, another prominent school, while maybe emphasizing God's absolute will and power more, still maintained that intellect is necessary to truly accept and understand revelation. For them, it's not enough to simply hear a divine message. The intellect has to process it, comprehend its implications, and assent to its truth.
Okay, so it's needed to receive the message properly.
Exactly. So while their theological approaches differed in emphasis, one highlighting reason's independent moral capacity, the other emphasizing its role in comprehending revelation, both recognize intellect as indispensable for a meaningful faith. They believe that a faith not understood through reason is, well, fragile, easily swayed, and ultimately less profound. Imagine faith without reason. It could become rigid dogma, right? Unable to adapt or address new challenges.
Yeah.
And imagine reason without faith. It could lead to nihilism or a purely materialistic view, lacking ultimate purpose or spiritual depth. In Islamic thought, they provide checks and balances for each other, leading to a balanced and resilient understanding.
And how does this play out specifically in the Ismaili tradition, as our sources describe? It seems to have an even more integrated view, making reason and faith truly inseparable.
Yes, in the Shia and especially Ismaili theology, reason is truly inseparable from faith. It's not just a tool for faith, but an intrinsic part of it, woven into its very fabric. A highly respected spiritual leader, Jafar al-Sadiq, articulated this beautifully. He stated, "The intellect is that by which the merciful is worshipped and the garden is attained."
Wow. Worshipped and the garden is attained.
Right. This powerful statement makes it unequivocally clear that engaging the intellect is a direct path to spiritual fulfillment and connection with God. It fundamentally links intellectual activity to ultimate spiritual reward, making the cultivation of reason a core act of devotion.
That connects right back to the idea of reasoning as worship that you mentioned earlier. It's not just about belief, but about intelligent, conscious belief, a fully engaged spiritual life.
Exactly. And what's particularly fascinating here, getting back to the Ismaili context, is that in their cosmology, the spiritual leader, known as the Imam, is considered a manifestation of that universal intellect we talked about. Their historical role has been to serve as a guide, helping to awaken that inherent spark of intellect within each believer. So this isn't about blind obedience to a leader, it's about following guidance that helps you activate your own capacity for understanding and discernment.
So the guidance itself is aimed at empowering individual intellect.
Precisely. And this continuous intellectual and spiritual guidance, passed down through 1,300 years from Imam to Imam, has enabled the community to tackle life's challenges, adapt to vastly different contexts, and remain vibrant in the contemporary world. Think about it. Over 14 centuries, this community has spread across incredibly diverse cultures: Central Asia, Africa, the Middle East, Europe, North America.
A huge span of time and geography.
Absolutely. They've faced countless socio-political upheavals, scientific revolutions, philosophical shifts, and it's precisely this emphasis on intellect, fostered by the guidance of the Imams, that has allowed them to continuously reinterpret faith in light of new knowledge, engage with modernity, and contribute positively to societies worldwide. This isn't a static faith, it's a dynamic tradition that embraces intellectual inquiry as a means of growth and adaptation. It demonstrates remarkable resilience and a forward-looking approach to faith in a constantly changing world.
So let's get practical. Why is this emphasis on intellect so crucial in the actual practice of faith? What are the real-world implications of cultivating this intellectual approach to one's spiritual life, beyond it just being a philosophical ideal?
Well, one key reason is to avoid what the texts call blind imitation, or tackle it in the original, but just following without thinking. There's a strong critique in the Holy Book against simply following tradition without thought or questioning its basis. It warns, and this is a powerful statement, when it is said to them, follow what God has revealed, they say, we will follow what we found our forefathers upon.
The "we've always done it this way" argument.
Exactly. And the verse continues, even though their forefathers understood nothing and were not guided. The message is crystal clear. Faith must be conscious, understood, and thoughtfully embraced, not just inherited blindly. This means that merely adhering to rituals or customs, because one's parents did so, without genuine comprehension or conviction, is not considered sufficient. True faith, in this perspective, demands personal engagement, critical reflection, and a deep understanding of its principles. It's about owning your beliefs, not just renting them from previous generations. Imagine a situation where someone questions a long-held tradition. The intellectually engaged believer wouldn't just defend it with, because my ancestors did.
Right.
They could delve into its origins, its ethical purpose, its continued relevance, using a rational lens. This conscious approach fosters a deeper, more resilient faith that can withstand challenges and adapt to new circumstances, rather than one that just crumbles when its inherited foundations are questioned or when new knowledge emerges.
That's a powerful point. So it's also about active engagement with the holy texts too, then, not just passively reading them. It sounds like the intellect is key to unlocking deeper meanings there as well.
Precisely. The Holy Book is understood to have both an outer meaning, the literal sense, accessible to all who read it, and an inner, deeper meaning. This inner meaning requires contemplation, intellectual effort, and, frankly, spiritual insight to uncover. Understanding both levels requires intellect. Nasir that Ismaili philosopher we mentioned,
Yes.
he uses this beautiful analogy. The outer meanings are like a shell. The inner meanings are the pearl.
Oh, nice.
And only the one with intellect will search for the pearl. The intellect then is not just for surface understanding. It's the tool that allows you to dive deeper, to find those profound insights, those hidden pearls of wisdom that enrich understanding and transform one's spiritual journey. Without intellectual effort, one might only ever grasp the literal, maybe superficial aspects, missing the profound spiritual and philosophical truths contained within. This continuous quest for the inner meaning ensures that the sacred texts remain a living, dynamic source of guidance, continually revealing new depths to the engaged mind and preventing faith from becoming rigid or static.
In a world with so much information and so many differing viewpoints, and frankly, a lot of misinformation and polarizing narratives, this ability to discern feels incredibly relevant today. It's not just about understanding your own faith, but navigating the broader world responsibly.
It is, absolutely. The intellect serves as a kind of spiritual compass. It allows the believer to distinguish truth from extremism, genuine spirituality from mere superstition, and authentic guidance from manipulation. In an era saturated with conflicting narratives and voices claiming authority, the cultivated intellect becomes indispensable.
You really need it.
You do. It's about cultivating discernment, which is vital for maintaining a healthy spiritual path and a stable community, especially through changing times like ours. This faculty of judgment protects individuals from falling prey to misinterpretations or harmful ideologies that might seek to distort the true message of faith. It empowers believers to critically evaluate information, to question what doesn't align with reason or core ethical principles, and to seek out guidance that truly illuminates and elevates. This emphasis on discernment is crucial for community cohesion and individual spiritual well-being in a complex and rapidly evolving world. It helps ensure that faith remains a source of peace and wisdom, not division or confusion.
It sounds like intellect also guides how one interacts with and understands the world around them, not just texts or inner spiritual states. It's about active engagement with creation itself, almost like having a scientific and ethical lens combined.
Exactly right. Islam urges believers to study the world around them, to observe and learn from creation. The Holy Book explicitly encourages this: travel through the land and observe how He began creation.
So direct instruction to observe.
Yes. And this isn't just an encouragement for scientific inquiry, though it certainly encompasses that. It's a call to deeply engage with the natural world as a source of divine signs. Understanding divine signs in nature, the intricate balance of ecosystems, the laws of physics, the miracle of life itself, observing patterns, recognizing the intricate order of the universe, and then applying ethical principles in daily life, whether it's environmental stewardship, social justice, personal conduct. All of this requires a dynamic, engaged intellect. It's about living a thoughtful, purposeful life that is constantly learning from its environment, drawing lessons from the natural world, and seeing it as a manifestation of divine power and wisdom. This active observation and reflection on creation lead to a greater appreciation for the Creator and inform how one should live ethically and responsibly within that creation. It makes life itself a continuous learning journey.
So ultimately, is the intellect seen as a path to spiritual enlightenment? Or, knowing God more deeply? Is this the grand culmination of its purpose?
According to major philosophers like Ibn Sina, Al-Ghazali, and Al-Tusi, absolutely. They believed intellect is a primary path to spiritual enlightenment. It's the faculty that allows the soul to move beyond the purely physical and sensory world to apprehend higher truths and deeper realities. And in Ismaili cosmology, as we touched upon, this journey of the soul is understood as a return to the universal intellect from which it originated.
The return journey.
Exactly. This concept posits that the human soul, by cultivating its intellect and engaging in continuous spiritual and intellectual growth, is striving to reconnect with its divine source. It's a journey of continuous intellectual and spiritual growth, fostering a vibrant and evolving understanding of faith, even in the contemporary world. This belief has profoundly shaped the Ismaili tradition, encouraging its followers to never cease their quest for knowledge and spiritual understanding, seeing every new insight as a step closer to the divine. This continuous pursuit ensures that the faith remains relevant and dynamic, capable of addressing the challenges and opportunities of modern life with both wisdom and conviction, always moving towards a deeper spiritual connection.
So to bring it all together then, after delving into all these layers, it's really not a question of either faith or intellect, is it? It's much more a powerful combination, a harmonious partnership. This seems to be the core message our sources convey, challenging that common assumption we started with.
What's truly fascinating, I think, is the consistent message across these sources. Faith and intellect are not enemies. They're partners, working in harmony. They're mutually reinforcing, each empowering the other. Faith, you could say, purifies the heart. It allows for receptivity, devotion, a sense of wonder, creating the fertile ground for spiritual understanding. Intellect, in turn, illuminates the path. It provides understanding, direction, discernment, preventing faith from becoming rigid or misguided or, falling into superstition. The ideal believer isn't just one or the other, but someone who is both rational and deeply spiritual. This is the balance that is sought. A heart full of devotion informed by a mind actively engaged in understanding. It leads to a holistic and complete approach to life.
Someone who combines reason with reverence, knowledge with humility, and reflection with devotion. That's a beautiful and, frankly, powerful balance. It offers a comprehensive and deeply engaged way of life, especially relevant, I think, in our complex world today.
Indeed. And this understanding continues to be emphasized today, demonstrating its enduring relevance and vitality. The current spiritual leader of the Ismailis, Aga Khan IV, has stated quite clearly, the Holy Book itself repeatedly commands the use of reason and the pursuit of knowledge. Faith does not negate reason, it elevates it.
Elevates it. That's strong.
It is. It's a powerful contemporary articulation of a principle that has guided the community for 1,400 years. It highlights its continued vibrancy and relevance in navigating modern challenges and fostering an informed, engaged community capable of thoughtful adaptation and meaningful contributions in the contemporary world. This leadership reinforces that intellectual inquiry isn't just tolerated, but actively championed as a pathway to a deeper, more meaningful faith. It ensures that the community remains dynamic and well-equipped to face the complexities of the present and future with wisdom and conviction. So after all that, what stands out to you about this deep dive into the profound and essential role of intellect in Islam?
For me, honestly, it's the sheer scope of intellect in this worldview. It's not just a tool for learning, is it? It's framed as a divine trust. It's an amazing gift that comes with immense responsibility. It's the very faculty through which we recognize God's message, understand morality, reflect upon the universe, interpret sacred texts, and ultimately ascends spiritually. It really transforms intellectual pursuit into a profound act of honoring a divine gift.
And the flip side is also there, right? To neglect this gift, to fail to cultivate one's intellect, is seen as risking spiritual decline, confusion, maybe falling prey to misguided ideas. It's like having a powerful compass but refusing to learn how to read it. You're just leaving yourself lost. But to actively cultivate it, to engage with knowledge, to reflect deeply, to seek understanding is presented as a clear path toward illumination, justice, and a profound closeness to the Creator. It's an active, lifelong journey of growth and understanding, shaping not just belief, but behavior and worldview.
It reminds me of that powerful closing line that kept coming up in our sources. Verily, in this are signs for a people who reflect.
Which I think raises an important question for you, our listener. If intellect is indeed a sacred trust, a gift to be cultivated for spiritual growth and navigating the world, how does this call to active reflection shape your everyday choices, your approach to knowledge, and your understanding of the world around you? Does it inspire you to look deeper, maybe question more thoughtfully, and seek understanding with greater purpose in your own life?
We certainly hope this deep dive has given you plenty to ponder. Until next time, keep thinking, keep exploring, and keep those insights coming.